Welcome to Split Ends and Friends podcast. This podcast isn't just about hair, makeup, fashion, and how to be successful in this industry. We will talk about all that, but it's much more. It's about how hairstylists are changing the world. We're bringing communities together and making a difference. We're spreading kindness around like confetti. Hosted by Tricia Rivas, owner of Trixies Salon and founder of the nonprofit Dreamcatchers Foundation, Inc., and co-hosted by Hannah Arendt, social media guru, hairstylist at Trixies, and director of education. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Split Ends and Friends. Today we have Libby here with us. She is from Breathe DSM, and we thought, as hairstylists, one of the sexiest topics we could talk about would be vaginas. So we have the vagina doctor with us today. And obviously, but there are so many women that are hairstylists that It's actually, in reality, a great topic to talk about today, among other things. But Miss Libby, like I said, she owns Breathe DSM, and she'll tell us all about that, as well as all the other wonderful things she does. I had no idea what kind of background you have, Libby. You have a background in all kinds of different things.
I love lots of things. I love to learn.
Yeah.
So lots of new stuff.
We do too, so.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them where we met, Libby?
So we officially met at the Bomb Mom Getaway a couple of weeks ago at Honey Creek. And I loved talking to you about female business owners, but female business owners with employees.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a little bit few and far between. There's lots of female business owners, but not that many who also have employees.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm. It is. And, we've talked about that before. There's a difference between being a boss and a leader, because I think when you're a leader, you're leading people.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different ball game when it's just yourself.
Yeah. Well, it totally changes, if you have employees, there's so much more even legal stuff that complicates things that would be very confusing, I would think, just if you're on your own.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this statistic up. I'm totally making this up, but it's something like this. I do that a lot. I'm sure I heard it somewhere. There's something like 50 to 60% of businesses are owned by women, but less than 5% are employed by women, or there's less than 5% of those businesses have employees.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or people are employed by women owned. That's it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is very few.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of women who have solo businesses, but very few people are employed in businesses owned by women.
Mm-hmm.
Hoping to change that.
Yeah, when you look at it that way, that is very depressing. That makes me sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're working on it, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So next we're hoping for a woman president.
Absolutely.
We talk a lot about how the feel of the business is so much different. We had a really good month in May, and we rewarded everybody with pedicures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my somebody else that works with us, who works with another company, she's like, "Oh my gosh, working for women is so different." Changing how a business is run. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Most definitely. How many employees do you have now, Libby?
There are 10 of us total, and that includes me and my business partner, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely want to get onto the vagina part, but like Hannah said, you do so much more. And I'm so excited to talk to you about the Nordic walk with the Wander Woman, because that's something that Hannah and I have talked about doing on, maybe one of the camps. She just got a kayak. I'm going to get a kayak. We're going to be the kayaking sisters. And
we have dreams of being these badass outdoors women.
I have a blow-up kayak. It's suitable for lakes.
Yes. But that's fun. It's another way to do it. I love that.
It is.
So tell us, as far as your business, so you're a co-owner of Breathe DSM, and you guys are here in Des Moines, obviously.
So our business is called Breathe Physical Therapy and Wellness.
Okay.
But Breathe DSM is our website.
Oh,
so
perfect.
that makes it very easy for people to get there.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah.
We have we don't really fit into like a physical therapy niche. We're really different than most physical therapy clinics across the entire country. We really focus on women. So we do physical therapy just like any other physical therapy clinic. Like if you have an injury or have had surgery or back pain or knee pain or elbow pain or whatever. But we really specialize in women. But prenatal and postpartum and pelvic floor stuff is what, and kind of a yoga-based philosophy is what really sets us apart. So like people with, everybody has a pelvic floor, but we don't exactly know, like the pelvic floor muscles are such a huge part of core muscles. So going to any other physical therapist who doesn't know about the pelvic floor or says, I don't do that, they're missing a huge part of improving back pain and hip pain and knee pain and all the pains, because it's just such an integral part of our like muscles that make us strong and hold us up. So kind of out of your comfort zone. I know I have lots to say. I could just talk for the whole time.
Though, as you should. That's great. We love that.
So pelvic floor muscles are this bowl-shaped group of muscles that sit at the bottom of the pelvis. And if anybody has trouble with peeing, pooping, or sex, or delivering babies, those pelvic floor muscles have everything to do with it. They also have lots to do with hip pain and low back pain. So people with pelvic floor problems might pee their pants when they exercise, especially common after we've had babies. They might pee their pants with a strong urge, or they might pee their pants with coughing or laughing or sneezing. Having a baby might have been really challenging because those muscles can get really tight with stress. Delivering, like having a hard time with the baby descending. Sex can be painful if the muscles are tight or difficult. People can think they have UTIs or yeast infections all the time when it's just muscle and skin irritation. We can have a hard time like straining for bowel movements. Sometimes even after we have babies, if the delivery was especially traumatic, there can be poop leaking. People can feel like their bladder is irritated all the time. People with feel like they have cramps constantly, especially teenage girls and young women who feel like endometriosis is the diagnosis they've been given. There's lots of muscle and pelvic floor contribution to all of that. Like this whole secret stuff that people don't really talk about. Even men have like penis and scrotum pain or numbness or tingling, and that can be like a pelvic floor problem too that pelvic floor physical therapists can help with.
Wow. Well, Libby, I have to tell you, probably about 3 years ago, I had a sling put in for my bladder because I was having a lot of problems with this. And I had my last 2 children were very big babies. And, because I'm very open and, it was funny to me of the situation having to go in and have this sling put in. And, I put it on Facebook. It literally,
good job, you.
Yeah, it literally had almost 400 likes. And I'm not kidding you. I had over 20 women that reached out to me asking me about it. Because like you said, it is this secret thing. It's like we should be embarrassed about it. But I mean, the human body itself is magical, but especially the woman's body. My goodness, we give birth to another human. There's things that are going to happen. It's not, you are pushing a watermelon out of the size of a pea hole. I mean,
it's really incredible. We grow a human just from scratch, out of nothing.
Yes.
And then got to get that baby out somehow.
Yes.
Happens.
Yeah. So things, eventually are going to happen.
There are some lucky people out there that deliver babies like it's no big deal. There are some of you out there.
Yes.
And we're jealous.
Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. So tell us a little bit about, as hairstylists, our bodies do take a toll. I mean, as far as with our back, if we are having issues with our vagina, I'm sure just gravity. How does someone even come in? what are some of the symptoms? I mean, yes, you did describe some of them, but, would someone go to a doctor first and then be referred to you, or would they just automatically come see you? How does that work?
So in the state of Iowa, and it's different from state to state, but in the state of Iowa, you don't need to see a doctor first.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have, there are a few insurances, especially Medicare and Medicaid, and then there's just a very few insurance policies that require a doctor's referral so that they'll pay for it. But you can go to a physical therapist for any problem in Iowa without seeing a doctor, which is a big deal, because a lot of people don't have primary care doctors, and it kind of seems like, gosh, now I got to go to my doctor. It just makes an extra step, but you don't have to do that in Iowa. So I'd love to talk about your sling surgery and about how even a lot of times with the right kind of physical therapy, prolapse surgeries aren't necessary.
Yes.
Or they can be put off for a while.
Yep.
And the other thing is a lot of the things that we do that make prolapses. So a prolapse is when the walls of the vagina start. Usually the vagina can happen in the anus too, but the walls they're a little lower than they used to be. Everything ain't up there where it used to be. And so one of the surgeries is to kind of tack everything back up. But the problem is if we continue to do our activities the way we used to do them, we might make it worse, because a prolapse surgery has like a 65% success rate, which is not great. Yeah. But if one of the reasons that we have a prolapse is, one of them is from pushing a baby out, because things just get stretched, and even just being pregnant and having a heavy baby inside your stomach pushes down on things and makes them get stretched. But doing things like hairstyling, where you've got your arms up over your head or up over your shoulders all day, and you're kind of leaning back, so it's not always the best posture, that can put pressure down on those pelvic organs as well. So you can learn how to breathe better and stand better and coordinate your pelvic floor with your breath and how you talk and how you act. And because when we have babies, that all can get kind of messed up. Our brains can kind of forget how to use our muscles just right. And so if we can learn how to do our core exercises and how to exercise more efficiently, we can make sure that you never have problems again, or even make sure that the surgery, you can put it off. So I have a prolapse too from my second delivery. That one, let me tell you, I had a C-section. I had a C-section for failure to progress with my first one, because I know that I had too tight of pelvic floor muscles. And then the second one, I insisted on having a vaginal delivery. I drove from Des Moines all the way to Iowa City to deliver him, because I knew that it was a better environment. And I delivered that baby vaginally, but I ended up with a 3rd-degree tear. So that's like a tear from the vagina to the anus. So that was really painful. Wow. And since I pushed so hard and so long, I ended up with a prolapse as well. I think that all of those things, every experience I've had has been given to me so that we can help more women, because I have learned how to manage all of these things very well. And so most of the time I don't pee my pants, only if I've had a few drinks and I laugh and jump all at the same time. Or run or dance. Weddings can be challenging.
Oh my goodness. Well, that does make sense. So let me ask you this. What's some preventative stuff that we could do as hairstylists?
So okay, most everybody has heard of a Kegel exercise. I don't think most people need to be doing Kegels all the time. I think that can actually lead to more trouble with too tight of muscles, which then leads to new problems. But we have to be able to do a Kegel and exhale at the same time. So a Kegel, a pelvic floor muscle contraction, is a squeeze around the urethra, the vagina, and the anus, and a lift up and into the body. So when we do that, are you doing it right now?
Yep. Yeah, we're both doing it.
So you gotta make sure that you're not squeezing your buns, you're not squeezing your legs, you're not squeezing your inner thighs, and you're not squeezing your stomach at the same time. So you should be able to do that Kegel without squeezing anything else. Now, the next challenge is people who have problems tend to want to inhale, to breathe in to do a Kegel. So, and suck everything in to do a Kegel. The trouble is that coughing, laughing, sneezing are all really strong exhales. So we have to be able to kegel and breathe out at the same time. So breathe in, breathe out, and kegel. Breathe in, breathe out, and kegel. So something like 50% of women do kegels wrong. I'm going to tell you this story because I think it's hilarious to talk to you about why women, because our pelvic floor muscles are inside our bodies. So even as little girls, we don't really have a great sense of where the muscles are. But little boys, So my son, when he was like 4, I looked down and saw him in the bathtub, and he was watching his little penis move up and down. He's just doing kegels in the bathtub because it was fun. Like, look what I can do, Mom. But little girls don't have anything on the outside to play with.
Yes.
So we don't get the same connection to these muscles that little boys do. So so we just don't know. People say do your kegels, but half the population has no idea if they're doing them right or not. So squeeze around the urethra, the vagina, and the anus, and a lift up and into the body. Should be able to do it with an exhale. And then the most important thing is that we relax those muscles when we're done and don't hold them tightly. Because what should happen is our bodies should just do it automatically. We should be able to laugh and do a kegel at the same time. We should be able to cough and do a kegel at the same time. But it should just happen automatically. But delivering babies sometimes messes with the wiring and things get mixed up.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I can't remember, was it you or Mary that also talked about how we even sit and how we should sit on our vagina? I think it was you.
Yeah, that's totally me. So sitting posture, we tend to, I'm not even sitting on my vagina right now. Thanks for the reminder. So if you want to talk about how to sit up straight, the easiest thing to do is to just sit on your vagina. That tips your pelvis into the right position, and you can kind of experiment with what happens to your neck and shoulders if you're sitting on your anus or your tailbone. It's like everything's kind of rounded and forward when you sit on your anus or your tailbone, but when you sit on your vagina, like your whole spine straightens up and your head gets in the right position and your neck and shoulders get in the right position. Dancers, gymnasts, yogis, and people whose grandmothers always told them to stand up straight tend to overdo it and tend to have, if you think about where our girls are pointing, we want our girls to point straight ahead. So we want to be sitting on our vaginas with our girls pointing straight ahead. Girls, aka breasts, boobs,
Yes.
And that instead of kind of up to the ceiling. So dancers, gymnasts, figure skaters, we all have, even actors sometimes who are thinking about presenting to the crowd, we tend to lift our chest, and that lengthens our abdominal muscles and can, can you think about that? Like if you're lifting your chest, you're kind of extended in your spine, and it's like your stomach's kind of stretched. When our stomachs are stretched like that, we can have a harder time with bladder control and with getting our core muscles back after we have babies.
Oh,
so it's really all about pressure. Mm-hmm. So if you think this is so interesting to think about talking about this instead of showing you my hands, but our diaphragm is our breathing muscle. Pelvic floor muscles are the muscles at the bottom of our pelvis, and then we've got abdominal muscles around the whole middle. So if you imagine it's kind of like a canister, the dome-shaped muscle at the top, a dome-shaped muscle in the bottom, and then ab muscles surround the whole thing. And it's a highly pressurized system like a pop can. And you can imagine if you put a pop can in the freezer, it sort of bulges at its weakest place. So ideally, we want that pop can to be lined up perfectly with the top directly over the bottom. If we think about this dancer's posture or stylist posture, because you're constantly trying to get your arms up. So one of the things that you do to get your arms up because they can get tired is to extend your spine and lift your chest.
Makes sense.
So that changes how the pressure is managed in our abdomen. And if there's a weak spot in our pressure system, usually down, usually vaginally because it's more open, and sometimes abdominally, or sometimes it can be even like in the diaphragm and can cause heartburn. but we want that pressure system to work perfectly like a piston and move up and down like a piston. So when we breathe in, the pelvic floor and stomach should relax, and when we breathe out, it should contract. You kind of imagine the whole system moving up and down like a piston to make sure that the pressure stays symmetrical, so you don't leak or push your bladder out of your vagina.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Oh.
Neither of which are wonderful things. You know, it's a huge deal. Like in a lot of third world countries that don't have access to good midwifery care or deliveries, when babies don't come out like they're supposed to and women end up pushing for days, they can end up with really, really bad prolapses. So like the vagina, like the uterus or the bladder are just completely coming out of the body. And then then they also don't have access to good surgical care, because once it's coming out of the body, you have to have surgery. There's no fixing that with exercise. And then that becomes stuff that's on the inside is on the outside. And it's, you know, like women in third world countries are completely ostracized because they're stinky, because it smells bad. And, you know, they've got something coming out from between their legs. So there are a lot of people that are doing work in third world countries to take gynecological surgeons to help to do prolapse surgeries, like really changing these women's lives.
Wow.
Thankfully, that doesn't happen here very often.
No, yes, we don't think about that stuff, do we? Over here, just because we are very lucky to have access to healthcare. Most definitely.
It's like a two-sided thing. We overdo medical intervention like a lot here. Yeah. But I'm so grateful that we have so many options when they're needed.
Yeah, for sure.
So, one more question as far as hairstylists go. We obviously stand on our feet all day. Do you talk much about with your clients or patients, I guess, about footwear and what we should be wearing as far as footwear goes?
Well, it depends on the person. Yeah. It's very personal depending on what your feet are like and what your back is like and what your fitness level is like. Sure. So people who have strong hips have strong feet. So we're big fans of doing things like a clamshell exercise. You can look that up online to strengthen the sides of our glutes. Because if we have the sides of our buns are strong, we hold up our feet a lot better. Especially if you're on your feet all day, the feet can start to flatten out. And that's a lot because our hips get weak. Oh, okay. So if your knees are touching, that is a much stronger sign that you're going to have flatter feet. And if you have flatter feet, then shoes should be really supportive. There should be a lot of good arch support. And this is also still personal. You know, everybody prefers something different, which is okay, but it's a kind of a good guideline to get started. Yeah. To lift the arches, to give them more support. On the flip side, some people have really rigid feet with high arches. And people like that would probably feel better with really soft, cushiony shoes, because when our feet are really rigid and high arch, there's just not much shock absorption in our feet, and so something really cushioned can be really good for people with feet like that, compared to something with a really strong arch support for people with flatter, more flexible feet. But butt strengthening is the most important thing ever. Yeah. We actually at our clinic don't wear shoes at all, because we know that where the chronic shoe wear use leads to just really weak feet. Now, we're not standing in one place all day, so I wouldn't recommend you do that. Also, probably also not the most sanitary thing to hair.
That would get really interesting.
But we're big fans of being barefoot to strengthen feet so that they can handle a lot more too. Yeah.
It reminds me of, I don't know if you guys have ever watched, it was like a survival show, and the guy, he does not wear shoes ever. Yes. And he's walking in the woods, he's walking miles a day, and he never wears shoes. And he's fine.
I can't think of it, but I think he's got to be naked too or something.
Yeah, it's one of those weird, but I always thought that was so interesting to watch him because, it makes sense.
I don't even have my kids wear shoes. You know, there's a lot I hear a lot of my neighbors, put your shoes on, but because we want them to have strong feet, we tell them not to wear shoes as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Along with that, as far as with shoes, what type of stretches do you recommend for people that are on their feet every day, like us?
So two good stretches that I think about are calf stretches, like standing at the wall and putting one leg behind you and really focusing on keeping that leg behind you, the foot pointing straight ahead instead of out to the side, and the knee straight to stretch the back of the lower leg. Then a figure 4 stretch where you sit and cross your ankle over the opposite knee, sit up really straight and then lean forward to stretch that, the butt of the leg that's up. Do you have like, can I send you maybe some links to some pictures?
Absolutely.
Do you post that on your website or anything like that?
Oh, we would love that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Most definitely.
And then, shoulder, upper back stretches. There's like a foam roller exercise where you would, because just what you're doing all day, you're very forward. So to make sure that your upper backs so you don't end up all humpbacked old ladies because you're leaning forward so much all the time. Exercises to stretch your upper back in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And I'll send you a link, and then a lat stretch to stretch out your back muscles. I'll send you some pictures so that you can put those with on the website.
Yes. So what you're saying, Libby, is we need to have a tiny little yoga room.
That would be amazing.
If you were any kind of boss, you'd have a tiny little yoga room for everybody to do yoga all day.
Yes.
They need.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect. Very zen. Somebody at my stylist, she was telling me that she had gone to like see somebody or see another salon, and they had a Himalayan sea salt room.
Oh yes.
Oh.
An entire room just covered in Himalayan sea salt.
Oh yes.
Soak up all the positive energy.
Yeah. I think one of
the
I think, if I could be completely wrong on this, but I think Coach Light Spa has a Himalayan salt lamp.
Yeah,
room.
could be.
Yeah, I'm sure about lamps, but just imagine the cost of a whole room.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Well, so relaxing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So before we finish talking about with the vagina doctor, we would love to get some stuff that you talk about or do for fun.
Oh, I love to exercise in lots of different ways. I just learned I'm a walker. I've always been a walker. I just recently in the last 5 to 10 years learned I have an anxiety problem. And unbeknownst to me as a kid, I would just go walk. And I think I did it when I was feeling anxious. So I just kind of developed it as something that made me feel better when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And so it's just something that I've always done. I walk long ways. I walk 3 or 4 or 5 miles several days a week. I just started doing heavy weightlifting. If you're in Des Moines, the Women's Barbell Classic was super inspiring. So I just started doing heavy weightlifting. I have a lot of some extensive yoga training for using yoga in rehabilitation for pain and chronic pain. I'm super excited. I just learned how to do Nordic walking. I got myself some poles. So if you see the crazy woman out on the sidewalks with her poles, it's amazing. It's like the best thing ever. You push the poles and it's like it propels you forward, and my back muscles are so sore. So you go from using just your legs to walk to now it's like a whole body exercise, and it burns like 20 to 50% more calories. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
I love to read. I just always want to learn more about everything all the time. So I read and listen to podcasts while I walk, listen to Audible books while I walk. And then I have 3 kids and a husband and a mom and 2 cats, and we love to camp and we love to be outside. I'm getting ready to go on getting ready to go on a 36-mile backpacking trip with 4 girlfriends. Yes. My really good friend Jen Riggs owns Wander Women, and we started to talk about this at the beginning. She takes women on all-inclusive camping trips around Iowa.
Yeah.
She just started, this is her first year, and all of her trips were sold out before like by April.
Yes.
Well, it's just a genius idea.
Super proud of her. But so she has made it. I have wanted to go on backpacking trips. It's one of those things that I did when I was 20 and then just thought I was never going to get to do again. But she has made it happen. So this is our second year going on like a women only backpacking trips.
Do you think one time she'll open up the more like what you guys are doing, the 36-hour backpacking trip? Is that open to the public?
No, she and I, this is just a trip that friends are doing.
Yes.
But she is going on, I think next fall she got into a training to be a backcountry guide.
Oh.
So that will be coming in the next year or two for her, I believe.
Oh my gosh.
She's practicing with us.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Sure.
Sign us up now.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's got so many people she's just limited by weekends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Well, it's like Hannah said, definitely a genius idea. And I know that women are just absolutely loving it. I love to follow her on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of her. She's in DSM magazine this month, current issue of DSM magazine too.
Yeah. Yep.
So surround yourself with really, really, really positive and influential people, women, ladies.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very, very good for you too.
Yeah. And talk about that too. I don't know how you felt, Hannah, but when I left the retreat for the Bomb Mom getaway, I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till next year.
Yeah, I wonder what she's going to do next year.
Yeah, I don't know, but if it has anything to do with Danielle, it'll be fantastic. So
of course it will. That was the first time I met her. She was so generous. I wasn't planning to stay the whole time, and I ended up having more fun than I thought I was going to. And then I know we talked about
that. Oh, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So that was fabulous.
So tell us how do we find you as far as what the website, Instagram, Facebook?
We are super active on our Facebook page. It's Breathe DSM. Moderately active on our Instagram page, also Breathe DSM. Our website is breathedsm.com. I just launched my very first ebook and video series, which is preparing your pelvic floor for birth. So it's learning how to push is basically it. It guides women through how to relax and contract and stand. It's meant for learning how to push, but it's also a really great series for just learning how to control your breath and learning how to control your pelvic floor. So I'm really excited about that. That's what our first attempt at an ebook and video series. That's on our website. That just launched last week. We haven't done a big launch on it yet. It's there, but there hasn't been a big push on it yet.
Oh,
that's really exciting. We have 5 physical therapists that we also do like trigger point dry needling, which is kind of magic for those tight muscles around your neck from holding your arms up all day, and shoulders, headaches, things like that are that just kind of come with the stylist territory. So
all kinds of good stuff. I'm just thinking about what I need to be doing.
Well, I'm like, okay, well, we have a coworker who's having a baby in a few months, and I'm like, oh, we need to share this with her.
Yes, Sarah.
She's really into fitness and things, so I think she'd really been interested in it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's having that first baby is really a changer, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Isn't that a life changer?
Yeah.
Very humbling. Having a first baby is very humbling.
Yes. That it is.
Real quick, I just did want to mention, I looked it up on the website, and Coach Light does have a Himalayan salt sauna. So if that doesn't sound magical, what does? And all kinds of other
phenomenal stuff. Mm-hmm.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Libby. I know we keep adding on one more question, but tell us what your favorite book is right now, because we like to ask everyone that.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite book right now, we're reading our leadership book club at work. We're reading Brene Brown. We're reading Daring Greatly.
Yeah.
It's a good one. We've always loved You Are a Badass. It's a good mindset shifter for going into business, for sure.
Oh my goodness, yes. Have you ever read Leaders Eat Last? I have not had my coffee yet, Libby.
Me either.
Why on earth are you doing this without coffee?
I know.
No, I haven't, but it's been on my list. It's a good one.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Again, one more question for you. Can people set up consultations with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't see too many people I personally don't see too many people anymore, but
Yes,
I have personally trained everyone at our physical therapy clinic.
Yep, absolutely.
You have to call, if you've never been to Breathe before, you'll have to call 515-255-3932 to set up an appointment. But if we've already been a patient, you can schedule online, and it's super fast and easy.
Okay, and so does insurance cover this type of physical therapy? You know,
Yes.
I don't understand all that part. Okay, wonderful.
So it depends on. So insurance covers. It's kind of tricky. You have to have a functional limitation. Is the word for physical therapy to cover it, and what that means is you are peeing your pants, and that is keeping you from exercising. You're peeing your pants, and that is keeping you from. You have to wear a pad all the time.
Yeah.
Or my neck hurts. It doesn't cover because your neck hurts. It covers that your neck hurts and you're having a hard time working. Okay. So as long as there's an issue, then insurance covers it. Like getting ready to have a baby is probably not, if you don't have any problems and you want to know how to do a Kegel and stretch and push, that's not necessarily covered by insurance. Because there's not technically a functional problem yet. We aren't really in the wellness realm with insurance yet. Preventing a problem, we don't really do that here very well.
Yes.
But almost everything is covered by insurance. We're in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield and Midlands Choice.
Perfect.
We are not in network with any other insurance companies, but especially if you're paying on a deductible, it's still way cheaper to see us than physical therapy clinic in town.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
We keep our costs low by only being in network with these two insurance companies.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Which is fabulous.
Yes. Well, thank you. Sincerely, thank you so much for coming on. And, like Hannah and I talked about at the beginning, it might not be the sexiest of conversation, but it definitely needs to be had, and people shouldn't be embarrassed to talk about it.
So promising.
Oh my goodness, we work with 17 other women and Jacob, which, he's basically our other woman also. He's used to us hearing these conversations, and my goodness, how often do we talk about this? Mm-hmm. I mean, sincerely. So it was much appreciated, you shedding some light on how we can take care of it and actually help with preventative.
Thank you so much for having me. I could talk about this for hours and hours and hours. I'm an only child. I could talk about myself for days. If you want to talk about anything else, I can talk and talk and talk.
Oh my gosh. Well, we definitely did that at the retreat, I think is why we sat with each other so much.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Libby.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Take care. You too.
Bye.